Hi everybody and welcome to my little mini-series for One Book July 2024. So One Book July is a challenge run every year in July, obviously. Originally set up, I think, by Romany from Romany's Realm. And it's been going for about 11 years now, and essentially it's for people in the planner community to do, well, the original challenge was to do one book for July, one book, one pen. So to sort of reduce the overwhelm of having a million planners and notebooks and journals, to concentrate on just trying to use one for the month of July, just to sort of like consolidate the best way of doing things. Now, I have done that challenge before, the traditional challenge, but not for a while because I've sort of settled into my system and it definitely doesn't involve just one book. But usually alongside that there's a sort of an alternative theme, and this year I watched Romany's video, which will be linked down below here, and she explained that the theme for this year is called Mind the Gap, and it's kind of about, I mean, go and watch the video anyway, but roughly what I've taken away from it is that 6 months into the year is kind of like a halfway mark where you sort of, I personally reassess what I've done so far and then think about what I'm going to do for the second half of the year. It's also a very clear breaking point or a jumping point between one planner and another if you have a 6-monthly planner system. So for example, the Hobonichi Cousin of Vec, you have a January to June book, and then you have a July to December book. And for me, I have been working in one of my planners I've been working in is a traveller's notebook diary, Weekly Vertical, and that also comes in 2 volumes, so January to June and July to December. So Mind the Gap is all about filling any gaps that you have in that planner and sort of finishing things off, rounding things up before then moving on to the second half of the year, which was absolutely perfect for me because one of the things I wanted to do this month was to fill the gaps in my January to June traveller's notebook. So I have been using the traveller's notebook Weekly Vertical for a sort of memory keeper. Now, memory keeping is not my forte, I'm not very good at it. I'm more of a sort of a writing about random thoughts and feelings person. That's the thing that comes really easily to me. And obviously doodling and drawing I enjoy, but actually memory keeping and remembering to put down what I did that day and remembering to put photos down, I actually find it quite hard. And previously I've tried like slightly larger formats, loads of different ways of doing this. But the reason I decided to do this system this year is mostly because of watching Simone's videos. So Simone has been doing this, I think, for at least a couple of years, on and off. And again, I will link her videos below. But she showed her Weekly Vertical Traveller's Notebook memory keeping sort of scrapbooky type thing in her videos, and it made me really want to try it for this year. So I'm going to just show you through my system as I have it right now, what I've been using and how I've been doing it. So I have my traveller's notebook on the right, and it is a Camel regular sized traveller's notebook. And then on the left I have a little extra small Delphonics pouch, which I basically use to hold a few extra stickers and supplies. Super cute little size, and I think also I got this from watching Simone, so she's definitely influenced me here. So it is the Traveller's Notebook, not an original Midori one. I have the yellow elastic on it just because it's cheerful. It's a really nice smooth Traveller's Notebook. I've got 2 charms on there. I've got a lighthouse, and then I've got a compass, supposedly the kind of compass that you use when you're drawing maps. There's a lot of symbolism attached to both of those items, which I think I explained in other videos. I can't remember which ones. If I remember to link them, I will, but otherwise you'll just have to trust me that it was to do with sort of, I sort of chose symbols of the year rather than words of the year. So those are to remind me of that. So this is the system I have inside. I've got a handmade folder. So rather than buying the plastic folder or the usual craft one, I sort of threw this together when I was setting this up, just out of some random cardboard and bits and bobs. And then this is the planner itself. So it's already quite chunky because I have been doing fairly well in it. I've done more than I thought I would, to be perfectly honest. So I feel like I've done quite well with that. But yeah, I'll just quickly go through the contents of the folder. So it's got 2 pockets, front and back, really quite basic. And I did actually film the making of this folder. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know, and I can find that footage and dig that out and put that on. I was so pleased with the inside of this traveller's notebook. It's very, very smooth. It's got a very, very faint pile to it, which is lovely and silky. Yeah, so this is the folder. It's decorated with random bits of paper. Mostly, in fact, almost all of it is my illustrations, my bits and bobs that I create, because I make so much of it, and then I have so much stuff left over. So it's always good to do these projects to sort of use bits and bobs that I have still lying around. I actually used bookbinding tape there to reinforce the edge, because I know that can sometimes get a bit worn. So yeah, there's my little folder. So let me know if you want to see how I made it, and I can get that uploaded. That bit on the front is a pocket. It's a postcard that I chopped in half, and I put that on the front as a pocket. And what I've got on there is a little template that's kind of like postcard size chopped into 6. The idea was that I would print my photos out of that size and just use that as a template to sort of draw on the page where each photo was going to go. I haven't actually used it, but probably because I keep forgetting it's there actually in the pocket. So the cardboard is not that secure, and I have already had to reinforce one side of it with sellotape, but it's doing the job. And I do have this very small idea that I might use it to bind my books at the end of the year and then make a new folder for next year. So that's something I'm thinking about doing. So sort of probably have to chop it in half and put a new spine on it, but actually sort of bind all my traveller's notebooks into a new book at the end of the year. That may be something I'm going to do. These stickers are a stash that I got from Japan last summer. So we go to Japan in the summer usually to visit family there. And when I'm there, obviously I have to do my annual stationery run, which is obviously very fun. So I grabbed all these stickers when I was there last summer with the idea that I would use them this year. But I haven't been doing very well at using them. And I don't know why. I have a feeling it might be because they're sort of shoved in that front pocket, and I don't know, getting them out and going through each sheet and trying to decide which one to use is sort of something I sort of just don't get around to it, so I need to sort of overcome that somehow. That's just an old paint palette that I keep because it can be quite useful as a spare bookmark. And this photo just randomly got from my gran. They're little cloth kit dolls I think she made when I was young actually, and I think I had them as dolls. It looks like she was selling them on eBay because they're standing next to a ruler there. Anyway, I'm quite happy to have that photo, so I'm probably going to shove that photo in my traveller's notebook. And then in the right hand pocket, I tend to keep larger pieces of collage. So these are like stickers or collage papers from my stash that I still don't know what to do with. So some labelly bits. These are actually excess. I printed these by accident. I was supposed to print on sticker paper and I accidentally printed on normal. And I don't know what to do with them. So these are yeah, as I said, these are sort of larger pieces that I would probably use more for backgrounds. But as I say, I haven't used them up. And I have this sort of odd thing with planners and supplies that I kind of like using everything up fairly quickly. I don't like to hoard stuff because I feel like each sticker and each design reminds me of a certain period of time in my life. So I like to get them down in the planner for that period of time, and sort of not have them hanging around. And obviously it gives me the excuse to then go and buy loads of more things. We are going to Japan this summer again, so the plan is obviously to, do a bit of a sticker haul, get a few bits of stationery while I'm there. And I don't want to be just adding to a never-ending always growing pile of supplies. I do want to sort of use them up. So part of my plan for this series of videos is also sort of using up supplies, using up things that I sort of want to move on from, so that I think I can then move on to the next thing. So that is going to be sort of an element, a factor playing into what I'm doing in these videos, is trying to use things up. So just stuff these back in here. They sort of don't quite fit very well, but the plan is that by the end of this series there won't be much in that pocket actually anyway. So yeah, those are the supplies I keep in my little folder. Oh, and also I should show you the contents of my little pouch now. So this is the Delphonics extra small pouch. It's just so cute and lovely to hold in your hands and squeeze, and I wish I could think of a million reasons to have more of these, because I definitely would. Don't tend to use these pockets on the outside. This one is a charm that I made quite a few years ago now on that sort of shrink plastic stuff. So it's one of my illustrations. You can get shrink plastic that you can print on with your printer. So I did that and shrunk it in the oven and made it into a charm. So in here I keep my little stash of sort of loose bits and bobs that if I tried to put them in the pockets of that folder, they'd probably just fall out. These are actually mini packaging stickers, like mini mailing labels and packaging notes, like fragile stickers, Japanese, from a little miniature set that I bought a long time ago. This is obviously sticker flakes. It's also random little bits of my stuff that's printed onto sticker paper that was sort of teeny, that I cut up. I've also got some bits cut out from some flyers. So these are illustrations by Aki Kondo. I picked up a flyer about one of her exhibitions in Japan. I didn't get to see the exhibition, unfortunately, but picked up the flyer. Yeah, just like random little loose bits and bobs in there. In this one, I've got some stamped ephemera. I went to a Traveller's Notebook event, fairly local to me, Traveller's Caravan, and stamped a few bits of spare paper, bits cut from magazines, random stickers. That is by Shibata Keiko, another Japanese illustrator. I'll mention her a bit more in a later video, I think. Then I've got washi tapes. So I don't tend to use these very much. I tend to use them for when I'm going on little trips and things like that. They're really useful to have. These are actually made from the covers of Kita washi tape. So if you want an excuse to buy any more Kita washi strips, remember that you can cut the cover off. It normally has a really beautiful pattern on it, and laminate it, and you can use it as a washi card. And they're the perfect size actually for tucking into most pockets and things. Then I have my little Traveller's Notebook passport sized sticker book. So this is great fun. I love this. I end up with an excess of sort of printable stickers from my Patreon every month, plus there's a few other bits in there from several years, I would say now, but it's getting quite full. So again, part of my Mind the Gap challenge is to sort of use up the stickers as much as I can from that sticker book as well. Okay, so moving on to the actual planner itself, I'm finally going to show you what I've actually done in it. So as I said, I've done quite well in it so far, but there are several blank pages at the back that definitely need sorting out, and a lot of sort of pages where I sort of left a lot of space that I'd quite like to fill. So the cover page, so the inside cover, didn't really know what to do with, so I just stuck down a picture of a map that I found quite inspiring, and it says on it the journey, which I quite like because going through the year feels always like a journey. And I also stuck some random sticker that said wilderness underneath it, because that's kind of what my life feels like most of the time, me journeying through wilderness and I don't know what I'm doing. This page here I use for sort of excess bits. So if I print off too many photos and I didn't fit on a page, I just sort of started putting them on here. Then I have these pages which I haven't used, but I haven't stuck things on them just in case I ended up wanting to use them, but I haven't actually thought of an idea so far. Those will probably remain blank. I don't think I need to do anything about those ones. And then the sort of first few weekly pages that weren't actually 2024, I used to stick in some journaling that I started off with my son. So at the beginning of the year, I bought this Hobonichi Weeks, and I wanted to use it as sort of a memory journal for my son. So I'd ask him in the evening his memory of the day, and we'd write it down. And we got, we did quite a few weeks, and then he just was like refusing to do it, didn't want to do it anymore. But I wanted to keep those memories, so I stuck them down in the December pages, cut them out of the Hobonichi and stuck them in there. As for what I'm going to do with that Hobonichi, that's a story for another day. So starting in January, this was the first page I did. So I used date stickers at the top that were my own designs and sort of wrote a bit about what we did each day, stuck some photos in, threw a few random stickers on the page, and I really enjoyed it. And I really like how this looks, and I was pretty happy to carry on with this sort of style. But I actually ended up sort of experimenting a few weeks with how things were laid out. So here you can see I did the date stickers all the way across the top. I went for sort of a uniform coloured background with the pink paint. Lots of cute stickers on this page. I really like this page as well, it's very cute. And then this one I returned to like dotting the date stickers all over the place. So I was just playing around, and the whole point is with this notebook is I'm not searching for that one perfect formula. Like, it isn't supposed to be like, I'm not trying to get things perfect. I'm just sort of farting around, essentially, with what I have to hand. On this page, you can see some blobs of paint. They were actually when I was testing paint out, when I was doing some artwork, and I had the paper with the paint tests on, so I thought I'd just use those. So I stuck those ones in. This page is pretty chaotic. I'm not very good at leaving white space. I tend to fill things up. Even if I start off thinking I'm going to be minimal, I sort of just can't resist the urge to keep slapping things on the page. So yeah, I guess that's my style. I have no idea. This page is quite interesting because I wrote lots of things on the left hand side and I wrote nothing on the right, and I'm actually probably going to leave it like this, mainly because I can't remember what on earth I did back in February, but I quite like the colours on this page. I think it's pretty cute. And then this, I think from now on is when it starts to get a bit gappy. So I've managed to put photos down here, and I managed to do a little bit of journaling, but I obviously haven't come in with any paint or any stickers at all. So that probably needs a little bit of jazzing up, and same with this page. Yeah, although it does look quite nice like this, but I just know when I come to do this Mind the Gap project that is going to get filled up, and the same with this one. So I don't really see this as a problem. So I do just want to say that I don't think there's any problem whatsoever with having pages that have blank bits and empty spaces and things. And if I didn't have a massive stash of stickers and background washi tape type collage ephemera that I wanted to use up, there's every chance that I would just leave this notebook as it is, and I wouldn't feel bad about it. And I don't think anyone should feel bad about, not being able to fill in every page perfectly. But as I said, I just have this sort of urge to use up my supplies and sort of have a fresh start from July. So I think basically filling the gaps in this book is going to be the best way to do it. That's the week I went to the Traveller's Caravan, so I actually did stamp some things directly into my notebook, as well as stamping on paper. This bit is sort of sealed up because it's just full of photos. We went on a little trip, and it's just full of photos of my son mostly. These pages here are, they're not actually from this planner. I tipped them in. They were from another traveller's notebook that I thought I was going to fill out with our holiday. But when it came to it, I just didn't want to do an entire notebook just full of that holiday. So I ended up just pulling some pages out that I had written our sort of schedule on and just tipping them in there. This page I did some date stickers that were just painted directly on the page because I sort of ran out of date stickers. And they're okay. Really don't like the ones on this page. This page is just not working for me at all whatsoever. I'm not particularly keen on it, but I don't think it would bother me. This could, as I said, this could go on my shelf. I suppose you have to sort of view it as an experiment if you're doing something like this, not as trying to make things perfect, but just sort of having a play. And the beauty is that if you don't like one week, you can just turn the page and you can just try something different on the next week, and who cares? And there's no police, there's nobody going to knock on your door and say, excuse me, I think you'll find you've broken the law and you haven't had a consistently perfect planner. That's not going to happen, is it? So let's just do whatever the hell we want, essentially. Getting a little bit gappier now as we're going through May. Massive gaps on this page that I'm thinking I can fill with all sorts of nonsense. So has anybody else used this format? If you have used this format, let me know down below. It would be really fun to see some other videos of people using this journal. Or anything similar, obviously, anything sort of January to June, and let me know what you think about filling gaps and whether you have this sort of like mad last minute rush of trying to cram loads of stuff in before you put it on your shelf. I don't think there are too many other planner systems that are broken in half, like the Traveller's Notebook and the Hobonichi Cousin, but if there are other ones, let me know as well. It'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are. Those are two pieces of tea packaging I've stuck in there. So I'm really happy to find that I have actually managed to do a bit of journaling on these pages. Don't remember doing it, to be perfectly honest, but that's quite good because my memory is not very good. And if I tried to remember everything, it would be a struggle, essentially. So from now on, it's just blank. I just didn't do anything. It didn't do anything all the way through June. No dates, nothing, no notes whatsoever. So that's the planner situation as it stands right now, and I'm expecting that by the time I finish this process, it's going to be rammed full and very chunky, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. The idea I have is that I'm going to do it sort of step by step, and I'm going to do it in quite small steps. Because I think if I just sat down and worked on each page individually, it would be overwhelming. So my idea is to work on the whole book and do one thing at a time. So sticking photos in would be one stage, or using washi tape would be another stage. And I'm going to break it down into like really clear stages and make a video for each one. So if you want to sort of do a similar thing or follow along, you will be able to just do one small activity a day. So it won't take like hours and hours and hours of your life. So if you have any gaps in any planners that you want to fill up, it might be quite fun to follow along with my series essentially, and do the themes as I do them. I'm not explaining this very well, but hopefully you get my gist. So I'm going to finish now, upload this video, and I will be back in a couple of days with the first stage of me filling in the gaps in my planner. So do check out the link below, watch the video by Roman explaining the challenge, check out Simone as well for her videos. I will be linking, well I won't be linking, but I will also be trying to keep notes of all the people I mention, all the artists I mention, the illustrators, down below. I'm probably not going to put actual links because I think when you're looking up a certain person or a certain project, everyone is going to want to buy things in different places depending on where you are in the world. So there's no point me putting like a British Amazon link if you're not ordering from there, for example. So I'll just put the names of the products and the people, and then you can obviously just search for them in your search engine, however you want to. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you're going to join in with the Mind the Gap One Book July challenge, let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.